On my YouTube channel, I recently started a series talking about my theories for an old Dead fandom. For the video, I drew a bunch of these individual character drawings so people could follow who I was talking about, but I put a lot of effort into them, so I'm going to talk about them more here. I figured I'd start with the most iconic character in the whole franchise. This is Des, short for Desponia. She's got the powers of a space god and an ego to match, but look at her, of course she's always right. I've drawn her a lot actually, but in this drawing I leaned hard into the circle-based shape language, especially on the fur at the top of her jacket, and I made her thicker than she usually is depicted as. I also tried to emphasize the blues in her design because it's supposed to be her main color and she does look more blue than canon Desponia, but her design was too iconic to change much more despite the bright yellow and pink of her shirt and skin, and of course the purple of her hair. I thought about putting a purple star on her shirt as a callback to an older design but decided not to, and even changing her hair to blue but decided against that as well. I do like the details I gave her shorts though, and I think this drawing is a successful depiction. What do you think? So that's day 1. Come back tomorrow for day 2. Day 2 of drawing fan art for an old Dead fandom that I never managed to forget. The second character to show off had to be Philip, the main character of the core plot. Philip goes through a lot, so there were a lot of different ways I could have drawn him, but ironically his most memorable era is his prison era, where he wears the same basic white uniform as the other inmates. I wanted to show off his solemn, kind of edgy personality in his pose, and also wanted to make sure to emphasize his very stylized bangs. I thought the drawing overall turned out well, but I did struggle finding a way to show all of his many important facial features. His bangs are iconic, he's known in canon for his freckles, he has glasses, his purple eyes that match his crystals are important, and the one that I think I struggled the most with was he has this dark line across his face that's like really important to the story, but hard to see with his glasses and his bangs. What do you think? Do you think I drew him well? Come back tomorrow for day 3. Day 3 of drawing fan art for an old Dead fandom that I never managed to forget. Following my drawing of the main character Philip, or as he's known while he's imprisoned, Ulysses, I wanted to show off my drawing of his love interest, Jamie. Jamie was so much fun to draw because she has a very interesting design, especially with her fluffy hair that's always pink with an orange outline. I remember her being one of the more popular characters in the fandom, so returning to her and getting to depict her was a lot of fun even if this drawing doesn't get much attention in the YouTube video that these drawings were actually for. I drew Jamie, of course, showing off her blue fire powers, but in the drawing at large, I tried to emphasize a lot of warmer colors, a lot of orange specifically. I used orange for the shading and added extra lighting to her hair to try to make her look more fiery, but the blue background may have ruined that. Do you think the blue background works, or do you think I should have gone with orange? Come back tomorrow for day 4. Day 4 of drawing fan art for an old Dead fandom that I never managed to forget about. Finally, we are at a villain character, though most of the time we saw him, he had yet to do anything all that bad. One of the sad realities of this fandom dying was the incomplete character arcs, but this is Ambition, the first to show off the unique, very cool naming convention of these characters. Most of them have extremely powerful magic and are named after the element that they're connected to. For Ambition, that element is Passion, which is actually his birth name, but he prefers to go by Ambition because technically his birth name Passion was a fancy way of saying bastard. Ambition's iconic design has always been with this big fluffy blonde hair and a top hat and a trench coat. Very weird magic man, and I wanted to keep that but lean much more into the purples of his design. Unlike Des, who I drew on day 1, I was much more comfortable changing the colors of his design to fit the purple that's supposed to be iconic to him. What do you think? Do you like my depiction? Do you think I did too much purple? Too little purple? Come back tomorrow for day 5. Day 5 of drawing fan art for an old Dead fandom that I never managed to forget about. I showed off Ambition for day 4, so I absolutely had to do Obsession for day 5. While Ambition spent most of his screen time in his backstory before he was a villain, his reincarnation Obsession was very obviously very villainous from the start. He's manic and obsessed with revenge, which leads him to being as bloodthirsty as he becomes. I love drawing his big, poofy, asymmetrical hair and his massive purple eyes, though keen-eyed viewers will see that I drew his eyes multicolored because of a specific theory that I have about him. I also added a purple diamond pattern to his usually plain yellow sweater vest to again lean into the purple color that his soul is tied to. My favorite detail of the drawing so far, along with the big eyes and the expression, is the monarch butterfly in his hand, which is an old symbol that the creator of the franchise used to love using for obsession. Come back tomorrow for day 6. Day 6 of drawing fan art for an old Dead fandom I never managed to forget. Today, we get to look at the first character I really tweaked the design of. This is Pippa. Both Ambition and Obsession had minor design tweaks, mostly for colors, but good old Pippa here had a decent amount changed. There weren't that many references of adult Pippa to choose from, but I, managed. Pippa is the spirit of Earth, and a chaotic, wild woman known for her crazy, borderline evil schemes. So, naturally, the first thing I did was change her space buns, which is cute because Earth, but change her space buns into twists that look like horns. Also, being the spirit of Earth, I gave her vitiligo, in reference to how the planet is covered in beautiful white clouds from space, and I gave her a green tongue, too. Her weird eyes and big triangular ears were meant to make her look more alien, but honestly, they make her just look a little bit like a Splatoon character. Honestly, I think it works. Sue me. I've always loved how Pippa is this highlighter yellow color, something between green and yellow because it's just so neon. She's so cool. Do you like my depiction of her? Come back tomorrow for day 7. Day 7 of drawing fan art for an old Dead fandom I never managed to forget about. After drawing Pippa for day 6, it seemed only fitting that I show off my take on Infinity, Mr. Space Soul himself, for day 7. I know I said this yesterday, but today is really the first time I redesigned one of these characters. We're getting into some more obscure characters, at least in terms of how often they were depicted by the original creator, so I get more creative freedom with them. For Infinity, I kept everything from the neck up the same, and went ham on his clothing. I love his big star belt. I gave him the yellow and blue color scheme of the explorer's sun, and gave him a bag to keep trinkets or note-taking materials in because, of course, he's an author. And, of course, I gave him this awesome spacey capelet thing. I am absolutely obsessed with it, honestly. I love this whole design. It feels so fantastical. Is that a word? I hope you like it too. Come back tomorrow for day 8. Day 8 of drawing fan art for an old Dead fandom I never managed to forget about. If you know the fandom, and you saw my last video, you may have seen this coming. This is my take on Riddler. In my first theory video, I talked extensively about Riddler, but it's funny because Riddler, as far as I remember, was only ever posted once by the creator. All I knew going in was that Riddler was a goofball, a catfish farmer, and Infinity's normal twin brother. I gave him the same color scheme as Infinity and gave him a similar beard, but made his hair much shorter. Better kept, honestly, and I gave him some nice, kind of interesting overalls too, as a nod to the farmer part of his job, but a normal t-shirt underneath it. He has some cute square glasses too, though something triangular may have fit the pattern I gave his overalls more. I put triangles on him to reference the star in his brother's design, but overall, I think he's cute. If he was a real guy, I might fall in love with him. Come back tomorrow for day 9. Day 9 of drawing fan art for an old Dead fandom I never managed to forget about. For the past few days, I've been showing off characters from the earliest story in the timeline, those being Infinity, Riddler, Ambition, and Pippa, kind of. So I figured I might as well round out the group with the last two. So today we have Dreamer. Dreamer serves as the main love interest, goal, and antagonist of the first story. She's a 3-in-1. I didn't change much at all about her design, just gave her some small jewelry as a nod to her rich upbringing, and stylized her hair a bit differently than it is canonically. I really like her design and its contrast with how she's remembered by the main character. I love her half plain, half animal print shirt too. Largely, I just tried to incorporate more pink in this truly awful, sleep-deprived diva. Look at those eye bags, damn. Come back tomorrow for day 10. Day 10 of drawing fan art for an old Dead fandom I never managed to forget about. Finishing off the, TOIDEDTG crew, the earliest story in the timeline of this old forgotten project that I love, we have Method. Technically, there's another much more important character than Method in this cast, but I haven't drawn her yet, so maybe later. In this, Method is an adult, which technically he's not in the story, but you know, he is later. I tried to make his design more interesting. I wanted to emulate the characters Octavius and Science. I made Method's eyes a more vibrant red, gave him a much needed tan, and gave his hair a cute little side part. I kept the white pristine clothes, but made his sweater a vaguely reddish black, same as his hair, and turned the white into a vest. I think he looks a lot more like a well put together guy who, you know, helps run a library, even if he is a little depressed. 10 out of 10, would hug. Come back tomorrow for day 11. Day 11 of drawing fan art for an old Dead fandom I never managed to forget. For absolutely no reason at all, after showing my version of the character Method yesterday, I wanted to show my drawing of the character Science. Now, many people in the fandom didn't know shit about Science, but I'm not many people, alright? I'm what we call a special case. I have a superpower, which is probably called hyperfixation, and I know as much as you can know about most of these characters. On a live back in the early 2020s, we got a lot of info about a lot of unknown characters. One being Addie, my personal favorite character in the franchise, and one being Science. And holy crap, was he evil. He has a whole thing with Lucid that's been hinted at, but if you want to know more about that, you should check out my long-form content. I leaned into my idea of overseer fashion. High fantasy plus technology, as it was described. I based the top half of his design on the last canon drawing we got of him, but added a lot more obvious villainous flair, and gave him a bunch of hologram screens of notes, and these big gold triangles that float around that I gave to a bunch of the godly higher-ups. Come back tomorrow for day 12. Day 12 of drawing fan art for an old Dead fandom I never managed to forget. After drawing a bunch of more obscure characters in a row, today I wanted to show off my take on Lucid, one of the main characters of the story, Desponia's love interest, and definitely not the reincarnation of Dreamer. What are you even talking about? Lucid, unlike some of the other recent characters like Science, Method, and Riddler, has a very concrete, iconic design. The biggest addition I made to this ball of sunshine dream god was adding this yellow complement color to his sweater, making a gradient that lends to a sunrise or sunset kind of look. I think it's really cute, and I like how it matches Desponia's yellow shirt. With that, I warmed up his palette and made his hair a very dark purple like that of his parents and other blood relatives. Cough cough, Philip. He's a ball of sunshine, and I love his hair. Come back tomorrow for day 13. Day 13 of drawing fan art for an old Dead fandom I never managed to forget about. It's day 13, an unlucky number, and the character of Luck was scrapped a long time ago, so I might as well show you Paradox, the overseer of chaos today. Close enough, right? Paradox's design I barely changed from canon. It's really iconic, as we all know. During the development of the whole story, over years, her design has barely changed at all, and I couldn't think of much to do to change it myself. I leaned into the sharp edges and gave her back her mismatched candy cane socks, but other than that, this is just pretty classic Paradox. I used to draw her a decent amount as well back in the heyday of the fandom. Nothing compared to Desponia, but I drew the Overseer of Chaos in general a fair amount. It was nice to get to draw her again. What do you think? Come back tomorrow for day 14. Day 14 of drawing fan art for an old Dead fandom I never managed to forget about. We've done Des, Lucid, and Paradox, so we have to round out the Troubleshoot with its fourth and final member, Adventure. I didn't like this drawing much at first, but I was looking through these drawings with my friend who has no idea about this fandom, and the first one they could guess the name of correctly was Adventure, so that boosted my confidence in this redesign a lot. Adventure was tricky. I never really connected with his old design. It didn't feel over serial, it didn't really catch my eye, and I didn't understand the fur like boa he had going on, so I kept his features and his color scheme but made him look a lot more like an outdoorsman in my opinion. I chopped off his sleeves, bulked him up, and took the fur idea and made it into this trim of this long sort of bag strap. I gave him formal pants, but with the leathery leg covering things that cowboys wear, though it could also be read as just shorts, which I'm also not mad about. I warmed up his palette a lot too, like I did with Lucid, and I changed his hairstyle drastically, taking away his locks and replacing it with a flat top. I honestly love the look, and I think I would faint if I saw him in real life. Just truly a deeply beautiful man. Oh, I also darkened his eyes too. They're supposed to be just orangey like his belt jam, but they looked a lot better with some darkness to them. Everyone say hooray for all 4 members of the Trouble Suit. I will forever think Des should be spades instead of hearts, but whatever. My take on them can have whatever suits I like, I guess. Adventure's pecs are big enough to remind you of a heart shape, right? Come back tomorrow for day 15. Day 15 of drawing fan art for an old Dead fandom I never managed to forget about. The Green and Gray twins, puzzles, and deduction. They were featured a lot in my first theory video for this fandom. I honestly didn't change too much about either of them, especially deduction. His design has always been pretty simple and effective. I switched up the shape of his hair a little bit, the styling, and made sure his eye bags and desaturated skin were very prominent, but other than that, it was just incredibly minor stuff. I mean, even that is really minor. I really just made sure he was wearing sweatpants and sort of leaned into the gray of this poor guy's design. I like deduction a lot. His story is interesting and I wish I knew more about it. I wish I knew more about his relationship with Postal, honestly. Pretty much anything about his girlfriend Postal would have been nice. She was a lot more important and interesting than we were led to believe, I think. But, you know, this is the nature of loving a now gone fandom. Anyway, what do you think of deduction? Do you think he could pull off a Frisk or a Kara cosplay? Because I do. Come back tomorrow for day 16. Day 16 of drawing fan art for an old Dead fandom I never managed to forget about. Accompanying her twin brother from day 15, today we have Puzzles. Both of these twins were really iconic designs to me, so I didn't change much for either. But Puzzles did get some tweaks, I think more than her brother. First, I changed her dress and gave her a tight, very sci-fi turtleneck, and with that, I changed the gold for silver, and changed the neck ring the court members wear to this triangular floating accessory that marks their status and matches their triangular tattoo. Triangles in general I used as a sign of alignment with not only the Overseer Court, but with the dystopian society in general. If you're important to it, or if you're aligned with it in the evil ways, I probably gave you some sci-fi triangle things, which I think used to be a canon symbol, but was taken out. Other than that, I broke Puzzles' dress up by giving her a matching silver-pointed waistline, and giving her black leggings under her dress, and also just added some subtle green streaks to her bun, despite how she tries to hide the green in her hair. Who do you like my depiction of more, Puzzles or deduction? Come back tomorrow for day 17. Day 17 of drawing fan art for an old Dead fandom I never managed to forget about. Today, we have my depiction of quite the evil character, Knowledge, head of the corrupt court. To be honest, I changed very little about her design. It's really, really well done. I just gave her a belt thing, changed the gold for silver, and gave her the same courtwoman uniform I gave Puzzles, Strategy, and the other ladies of the court. For Knowledge, though, as the head, I moved the big triangle accessory to be floating around her body, and made it much bigger, showing her status as the woman on top, the judge, not a lawyer or any lower member of the court. It's her soul crystal that the triangles are based on, after all, that the tattoos are based on. Speaking of based on, this pose for her is actually a callback to an old drawing of her I did back in the heyday of the fandom, so it was very nostalgic to get to draw. Come back tomorrow for day 18. Day 18 of drawing fan art for an old Dead fandom I never managed to forget about. Today, finally, we have my version of the evil god king himself, Control. Usually he's depicted with a very chill, understated design, just a polo shirt and some pants, kind of dad vibes, and I like that. It shows off his character well, but I wanted to give him at least an alternate outfit that makes him really look like an evil sci-fi king. He wears black, white, and gold, a bunch of triangles, and lots of black gems that match his soul crystal. I gave him a big beard too, to lean further into the dad vibes, and gave him a floating sci-fi crown. I also covered his clothing in these little accent panels that have Overseerian language written on them, the names of the elements of all the first generation Overseers, or at least the ones that I could find, and I gave him these ominous Illuminati-esque triangles behind him that float around and presumably can move around. I imagine the eyes in them that match his own pitch black eyes can move up and down these columns and watch people throughout his kingdom, though I doubt that they're really necessary. He's got eyes and ears everywhere anyway, but they're helpful and they show off his power. I think I did a good job mixing sci-fi and fantasy for this wicked king. Come back tomorrow for day 19. Day 19 of drawing fan art for an old Dead fandom I never managed to forget about. Today, we have a character who I'm pretty sure is very, very unknown in the fandom, and that's Energy, one of the highest ranking people in the whole society. She's a villain, but that's to be taken with a grain of salt. She may be nefarious, but she's working to take down the absolute dystopia the Overseers are forced to live in. Though we don't really get to see how she's doing it. In fact, like I said, most people don't really know anything at all about Energy. I only know what I do because I'm obsessive. But because of her general mystery, I had a lot of freedom when it came to redesigning her. I kept the version of her with the big hair and the glowing tattoos, but made her hair a lot more textured. Her tattoos are all very swirly and flow along the limbs of her body. They're based on some different symbols I found for the word energy. I gave her some gold accessories because I liked it with the very warm green of her hair, and gave her this weird black and white, very futuristic, kind of high fashion situation with her clothes. I wanted to give her this cheeky grin. She's looking at you, and her expression and stance gives you a very specific, almost knowing vibe. A specific energy. Because of her whole role in the story. I think her design could use some tweaks, but I'm very happy with the direction it's going in. Come back tomorrow for Day 20. Day 20 of drawing fan art for an old Dead fandom I never managed to forget about. Today, we have who I think is the very least known of all of the characters I've drawn so far. A character without a single fully complete, confirmed, canonical drawing. This is my take on Fertility. Another character who lives in the futuristic society of the Overseers, Fertility has a major influence on culture for a lot of reasons. She's caused some positive change, but generally seems to be content with the dystopia they live in. From the two little drawings I was able to find of her, I gathered that canonically she seems to have a braid and pink hair, so I went all in on that angle. I leaned hard into the pink, but gave her a pastel purple soul crystal and matching eyes. She also has flowers in her hair and body accessories that go well with her cutout heavy bodysuit. I wanted to lean into a lot of depictions of Aphrodite with her, so I kept her hair on the longer side and gave her some nice curves. This diva has thighs for days, and a beautiful tummy and chest. She knows how amazing she looks, and she's absolutely vibing with it. Come back tomorrow for Day 21. Day 21 of drawing fan art for an old Dead fandom I never managed to forget about. Today we're drawing a very important, very well-beloved character, and that's Ian, also known as Intelligence. This immortal alien dude goes through so much in his thousands of years of life, and the poor guy just wants a break, but instead, for a big part of when the audience got to see him, he was in jail. And that's kind of how I drew him here in his ARI or Magic Space Prison uniform. His pose matches and contrasts that of his twin sister Knowledge's, but he's a lot sadder looking and more reserved. He's also covering his crystal. But really, I wanted to call attention to the one brightly colored thing on him, his scarf. Give Ian back his scarf. Petition. It was so important to his story, and people think we never learned how he got it, but I'm 110% sure he got it from his old lover, Addie, my personal favorite character in the whole series. Don't at me. I colored his scarf green and sort of an orangey brown as a reference to the two most important people in Ian's story. Green like Addie, and to match his children who both have green and gray color schemes, because yes, puzzles and deduction are Intelligence's kids. Watch this video for an explanation on that theory. And orange to match Knowledge, who always wears a big orange jacket. Oh, I love Ian. Mwah. Come back tomorrow for Day 22. Day 22 of drawing fan art for an old Dead fandom I never managed to forget about. It's really hard to say which of my redesigns is my favorite, but this one, for Wisdom, is really high up there, honestly. Wisdom is, or was, the head advisor and sibling of the queen of the Techno-Gray planet, an ancient yet extremely futuristic society of VR-based tech-forward aliens. I don't really like Wisdom's canon design. It's really cute, but I don't think it tells the story particularly well. I think it would be served better as a different character's design. So for Wisdom, I wanted to make something that you look at and go, high society cyberpunk alien, and this is what I came up with. I'm obsessed with the sunset-like colors on the big main panel, and how rather than sleeves, their clothes just sort of fade into their skin. I also adore their hood and the silver floating accessories over their arms. It feels very official, very regal, but again futuristic. I have versions of this drawing with both their headset on and with it off. I also made a variant of their designs with two-toned hair based on an old retconned design of them. I'm pretty sure Wisdom's hair was two-tone horse horizontally and not vertically like a dip dye in that old design, but I liked the split down the middle look more. Also, for good measure, I drew Intelligence and Knowledge with their white and black hair versions respectively, just to honor that old retconned idea. Which one do you like more, the gray or the black and white? Come back tomorrow for day 23.